Florida State gets not one, but two verbal commitments from South Florida.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Seminoles. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football writer and recruiting analyst. Thank you very much for making this your first listen each and every day. Today's show is going to feature two football players and twins that are now committed to the Florida State Seminoles. Darryll Desir and his brother Mandrell are defensive ends from Norland High School in Miami Gardens. They are former commitments to UCF, flipping their decision to the Noles. What are the Florida State Seminoles receiving with each of these young men? Well, both are defensive ends. And both of them are pretty twitchy and put together. They look like they're advanced just by looking at them before the play even starts on film. And I remember seeing them last year at a practice. They were loaded at defensive end. They had a couple other kids rotating with them. And I'm like, if this is your backups, you're in a great spot. Norland went to the state finals last year. This is a program that you want to recruit, by the way, Miami Norland. But Darryll and Mandrell can really get after it. Twitchy, 230, 240 range. And I would say they both have the chance to play weak side or strong side end. I don't think it matters much at this point. Just bring them in, work with them, and continue to help them develop. I don't think either player is somebody that's been given quite the due process for where they're ranked. They're both three-star guys. As a matter of fact, looking at the rankings with them, it's a little surprising to me. Darryll is the number 578 player by Rivals, number 44 edge, and Mandrell is the number 738 player in the nation and 56th edge. That's just Rivals. There are other rankings too, but neither one is probably where they need to be. ESPN has them a little higher, if I remember right, but I think that it's a little surprising that South Florida defensive linemen are not a bit higher because Norland doesn't shed any tears. They go out and they try to obliterate people, and they're playing quality competition. So the film's pretty interesting. As for me, I find this an interesting situation because obviously Florida State is struggling. They just got beat very badly by Notre Dame 52-3, but the Noles get a commitment the day after that. That also says you put in some work. Odell Hagens, he's a longtime recruiting aficionado. He's had his downs in certain times, but overall, especially in the 90s, early 2000s, he was, if not the best, one of the top 5 or 10 recruiting guys in the country, regardless of position. This is a big pickup because Florida State only has one guy committed without Daryl Mandrell. You add the twins, you got 3 guys. Doesn't mean you don't need more players, but Florida State getting these 2 is certainly a help. As for instant impact, that's one of the questions that I always get. I hate saying that freshmen are going to play early, but again, you're talking about 2 very talented players that are probably a little bit underrated. And just physically watching them stand before a play begins, lower bodies developed. They have the strength that you need to play power football. I think either one of them could end up as a strong side end, which ironically is really a lot different than weak side because you got to take on 320-pound offensive tackle, sometimes head on. That's not very fun, but they're put together and have enough power in their lower base to hold on and set the edge against power run plays, outside zone, gap, even some duo. I mean, that's not fun at all. You're getting doubled, but I think each will end up over 250 pounds. But can they be at 250 next year and still keep their speed and athleticism? I don't know. You're 9 months from the next football season, so possibly. Depends on if one or both decide that they want to add weight or if they want to stay where they're at. I don't know. Those are questions that Norvell and his staff will have to figure out. But I think these are really good pickups. And quite honestly, again, I think they're both underrated. It's just my opinion from watching film, and I've seen them live in practice and play some in games. I'm not sure because I haven't seen them this year. I saw them last year, where they're at this season because I haven't seen them live, but I like the film. So Florida State gets 2 commitments. Now they're up to, I believe, 13 commitments. Maybe it's 12, whatever it is. but Florida State needed D linemen, and this is a big pickup for them. Thank you once again for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day. I truly appreciate it. Please, if you have not already, hit that like button, that notification bell, and subscribe to this podcast. And you can check me out at FB Scout _Florida on X. Everybody have a good one. I'll talk to you soon.